We're going to talk about record-setting number of bankruptcies, plus the latest on those Argentine beef imports, and a lot more on today's episode of the Arkansas AgCast, which starts right now.
You're listening to the Arkansas AgCast, where we discuss the latest news, trends, and issues impacting Arkansas farmers and ranchers. Our show is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation and hosted by Jason Brown and John Nickman.
Howdy.
Hello.
We're all caught up in our own conversation. We're not
Yeah.
trying to do this show.
Yeah, we won't record that part.
Nah, you know what? I like that shirt you got on. I was just sitting here
Thank
thinking
you.
about that. Making me
It's a
jealous.
good shirt to wear in this room.
Yeah, it looks nice. Do you mind? I don't care if you do.
But
That's nice. It feels,
how was that?
thick. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, I steer clear of your biceps.
It's nice and soft on the skin.
It looks like it. It looks nice. It looks high end, just to be honest with you.
I'm kind of high end, so I try to portray that in my clothing choice.
You are high end and high maintenance.
High maintenance.
And I know if my man Brian was here, he would agree, but he's not. And you know what? That means it's a Matthew show.
It's me.
It is.
It's been a while.
Welcome, Matthew.
Which we love.
Yeah, it's like a special show.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
every time.
You know, Brian's all caught up in getting the wife and R and all that ready. That little event's the next 2 days. So
Yeah.
you're stuck with me.
Yeah, Brian, you know, you and I were in Mountain Home yesterday.
We were.
Working on something, and I had somebody, I don't know if you overheard the gentleman, but he came up to me and he said, "Are you the guy from the AgCast?" I said, "That's." Yeah,
so he
that's
recognized
one of
you,
the
but
things
not
I do."
me.
No, he goes, "And him too, right? He's also on there." I said, "Yeah, both of us." He's like, "Oh, and y'all are both here." I said, "Yeah, we are." I don't know if he was more shocked to see that we do show up together sometimes.
Yeah. We do, do things together, work related outside of this show.
That's right.
Believe it or not.
I think it's kind of like when a kid sees their teacher at Walmart and they say, "Wait,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to be here. You have a little box that you stay in."
Yeah.
You live at school. That's
Yeah.
what I've always heard that, you know, is like the students think that their teachers live at school. They don't have regular.
I've always thought the same thing about like NFL players or even college football players. When you see them without their pads on, they don't look near as big. They don't look the same.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, we do have a life outside the podcast, but clearly we have
and
a
this
fan.
is not the only job that we have
true.
to do.
That's true. He did have some really nice things to say about the Commodity and Regulatory Affairs Department.
I heard those things.
I was very happy to hear that, so thank you.
I followed up with him after the fact and let him know how misguided he was.
Yeah. Everything I said up there was not true, according to Jason Brown.
Yeah,
Well,
there you go.
I know. You know what really got me? It was some of the more flattering remarks that you made about yourself and your team, and then the fact that you called
John flattering himself.
Oh yeah,
Never.
Oh yeah, he actually called, and you didn't know I was going to do this. Neither did I
You're not
until
going to
this
say
department.
what I said before I said it. I put a disclaimer on it.
He actually said yesterday to a room of people, we, meaning the Commodities and Regulatory Affairs Department, are the brains of Farm Bureau. That's what he said. And that's what I took issue.
I mean, the way you're kind of arcing your head right now, John, you kind of have a big head. It's
you know what he say? He's like, "Hey, argue with me. Take me on."
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. I do have a big head. It is really hard for me to find hats that fit, and it is an issue. But what I said before I said that in this meeting or this presentation was that to give you a kind of a broader picture of kind of what our department is and what what the organization is by department, I jokingly say that community or PR, public relations, is kind of the voice of the organization, right? Our governmental affairs is, more or less jokingly the pretty face of the organization.
This is another issue I had. With it. He said they're the pretty face.
Yeah.
And then we had two goons walk in right when I said that. And then I said, OMP is kind of our boots on the ground. They keep their hand on the pulse of the, what's going on the farm, kind of help us with that information, direct contact with the farmers. And I said, what you'll see in this presentation is, the work we do, you could almost consider our department the brains of the organization. I probably should have said nerds, more or less.
Yeah,
but again, I did jokingly say that this could be not exactly accurate and could be perceived as a joke.
I'll give it to you.
That's what I'll just say this. Sure, you want to give all that additional context. It doesn't sound nearly as inflammatory.
What did the gentleman say after that?
It actually sounds very reasonable.
What did he
when
say
you put
at
it
the
like
end
that?
of the presentation? He said, "Your department is the one I didn't know really what y'all did, but after hearing that presentation, I am thoroughly impressed and blown away by everything that you all do."
He said something like that.
No,
and
word for word.
And I did see you give him that $20 bill after.
I said, "Thank you for the kind words, sir."
I just, all I can say
we ate
is
lunch together.
You clearly haven't taken your PR training the last 3 years very seriously.
What?
Because Jason's dead on. The headline is economist McMinn says his department is the brains of Farm Bureau. That is the headline. Not all this flowery. Everyone's great.
Yeah, that's right. Well, anyway, all that fun can be had if you're interested in joining Ag Leaders, because that's what we were doing yesterday. Is we were at one of the Ag Leaders, the Baxter County Ag Leaders interest meeting.
Yeah. If you've ever been like, I want to know more about what Farm Bureau does, I want to increase my leadership in the organization. It's the number one way you can do it.
That's right. That's right.
I will say I even learned something listening to others present in that meeting too. So
it was really beneficial.
Yeah,
I did too. And there was more good conversation later on in the day. It was good. I enjoy doing those presentations. I enjoy meeting the people who are interested.
Yeah. It's good talking to people that are, you go give a presentation or speech and let's say 10-25% of the people in the room are actually paying attention to you. And that particular meeting, those people were there to listen to what we had to say.
Same thing.
And that's always good.
I went to Greene County a couple of weeks ago and gave a presentation and for this, and it was the same thing. It was the same sort of outcome, and I just really appreciate that attentiveness and that general interest in what we're doing here at Farm Bureau. And you made the point, we were joking about it, but like, even I sitting in the room yesterday was like, gosh, we do a lot.
Yeah.
Not just the PR department, but Farm Bureau. I mean, you sit there and you listen to the government affairs or government relations team and you and your team present, and you're like, man, we've got a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah, and I would say that to also put in the details, we're not if you compare us to other organizations or companies, whatever you want to label that, we're not that big, right?
Right.
There's a lot of effort given the amount of resources that we have in human capital, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that says a lot too.
Yeah. Anyway, those are fun to do, and if you want to just interact with some good people from Farm Bureau, like me and John here, you can attend one of those meetings. I think if you go to Facebook, you can see the schedule of events, or you can give Jennifer Craig a shout, and you can see what dates are remaining for that Ag Leaders program. And that's not age dependent. It's not a life in our program, meaning it's any age can get involved in that.
I think in the first group we had like a 19-year-old college student and a 60-year-old person who's into their career and just looking for something to be a part of. So.
Yeah, it was great.
And I think Jennifer put it well yesterday, was saying that any beginning farmer out there is welcome, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're new to the industry or maybe you've always been in it, but you're really kind of diving into it more than you ever have.
Yeah.
It's a really good resource.
New farmer, or even just like an ag professional.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's a good network,
welcome for
too.
you.
Oh, and I told him yesterday, I was like, I sort of go over what our department does, but then I tell them what we're going to give them as part of the program. Hey, we're going to come in and do speaker training with you, communications training. We're going to put you in front of a camera, do a mock interview, give you feedback on that. Because, that's just one meeting.
Yeah.
So, and it's a 2-year program. So anyway, enough about that. It's a fun program. I think if you're interested, you should absolutely attend one of these meetings and see if it sounds like it's for you. And we're just happy to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
It's Valentine's Day weekend coming up.
It is.
And I just wonder, I have heard recently, it feels like there's a real dividing line. I always felt like Valentine's Day was a required
It's a
participation.
marketing scheme.
I've always heard that too. And I got to tell you, I did some research and I have really poked a hole in that concept, because the first Valentine's Day, the first Valentine's card is actually on display in a museum in England, but it was given in the 1400s.
Really?
So I used to think that as well. But I
Mr.
did
Valentine himself.
No, I don't know who it's from. I'll have to go look that up. But it certainly is an opportunity to spend money. In fact, I read that the average person spends over $130 on Valentine's Day. So it got me thinking. I'm wondering if you guys don't mind me being a little nosy.
So you
again,
need to be
I've
above
recently
average,
learned this. Oh, yeah, I've recently learned this concept that some people just don't. They say, "Hey, we're not going to do the gifts. It's just another day for us." Okay, that's interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Are y'all? Where do you fall on that? Is it sort of is Valentine's Day a thing in your house, or are you kind of? Y'all just let it pass as
I wouldn't say what I'm going to say if we hadn't already had several conversations about this over the years in my household.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the holiday.
Yeah.
I love my wife,
every day,
every single day.
Yeah.
So, you get too deep in this, but you get my point.
I see where you're headed.
But she does enjoy it. So
Well,
that
there
matters
you go.
more than my opinion.
Yeah. How about you?
So you guys are saying you don't create a giant Saint Valentine's feast, which is what the holiday is based on?
I have
Right.
I have before.
A giant holiday feast?
I wouldn't say giant, but like steaks.
Yeah, it wasn't
stuff
until
like that.
later on that romance was connected
it's
to.
about a saint.
And they actually give Geoffrey Chaucer, if you want to get into a little,
Please do.
Poetry or author, is the one who tied it into romance later on. So anyway, it's kind of interesting.
To actually answer the question, we don't, I'm with you, John. I subscribe to the, loving your partner throughout the year.
Sure.
I gave Delaney flowers yesterday. Specifically, I didn't buy $200 flowers. I bought $30 flowers and said, I can buy you 8 bouquets of flowers that look just as good throughout, the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Rather than giving you, the big one. And we don't, I love a good restaurant. I love a good tasting menu, that type of thing. But I don't buy into the let's spend more to go eat the same meal we could eat 2 weeks from now because it's Valentine's Day.
I see a lot of people do the Valentine's hack. Like my dad, I called him this week. I was like, hey, can we come? We're going to come by and see you on Saturday.
Yeah.
We want to go over to Memphis. And we're going to stop in and see you. He goes, I was like, are you around? I hadn't even thought about being Valentine's Day. He goes, we're going to dinner Friday night for Valentine's Day. So we're around all day Saturday. Our schedule's clear. I'm like,
but
I see what you're doing there. You're kind of working around the system there.
I also though have a nice Blackstone grill, so we're gonna do fajitas on the Blackstone on Saturday.
Oh, that's fun.
And that's our event.
You gonna have heart-shaped tortillas?
No, but no,
maybe
you should. Missed opportunity.
Maybe you should.
maybe I should. But the other thing is though, I will say I do kind of wish I could convince her to go to the candlelit Waffle House romantic dinner that is happening.
Oh, is that a thing? Is that a thing?
It's a thing in Little Rock. One of our Waffle Houses is doing it, where they're turning the lights down, lighting candles, and doing
Oh, I like
romantic
that a
dinner.
lot.
Is
at
that the
Waffle
one
House.
on Cantrell or
I was
Markham?
going to
or-
ask which one.
Oh,
do you know?
you're gonna catch me lying.
The one out here on Bowman,
You would
maybe. That
have
feels
to-
like a West Little Rock deal.
You'd have to look it up.
Okay. All right. I like that.
That would be the type of consumerism I would subscribe to.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
We
I
might
mean,
do that, actually.
we have been out on Valentine's Day, like dinner that day,
Uh-huh.
and it's never a good experience as it would be compared to a normal night going to dinner somewhere.
Mhm.
It's packed. The service isn't great because they're
Mhm.
overwhelmed.
Mhm.
And then you have sometimes, depending on the restaurant, most of the time you have a prefixed menu, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And-
yeah, it's a short menu.
And
It's
menu's not that good.
It's overpriced,
flat
not
fee.
what you want.
Yeah.
And you know, I will also say that at least I feel like in most towns in Arkansas, maybe this doesn't apply to Northwest Arkansas, but the rest of the state, it is one of the only nights in the year that I feel like you have to have a reservation. And I'm not into it.
I'm friends with Heather Baber, who owns Rover down in
Yeah.
Benton, and I bet we were still in 2025, and she had posted that they were already full for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just
Sure.
nuts to me.
It's
you know?
it's crazy how much buy-in there is.
Yeah.
But,
So if
Somebody's making money.
if candy is the most given gift, and flowers are the third most given gift, what is the second most given gift? Did I word that?
A card or jewelry?
It's actually dining.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
Well,
I mean, for what it's worth,
should've
I do
taken the
think
hint.
Yeah, it's the meal.
if you're spending $250 on a meal, I mean that should be the gift. I don't know that
Yeah, right.
we need to attach $200
Yeah.
flowers on top of a $250 meal.
Yeah. Well, have fun. Whatever you. The
Yeah,
point is have fun.
Yeah.
Whatever you choose to do.
I'm with Matthew. I want to go to Waffle House.
I like it. I'm actually thinking depending on what time we get back.
I
from
can't
that
imagine the
facility.
service being bad.
No,
Everything
Service is not going to be bad.
Everything
No,
gets
it'll be
whipped
great.
up really quickly.
and
there,
then a
regardless.
month from now we can go to Arthur's and get a steak, and it'll be great.
on a random day.
Next week.
Yeah.
It's going to be rainy.
Yeah.
It's going to be ugly. Stay in. Save your money. Eat another day.
Yeah.
Better yet, call up your local cattle farmer and get you some
Get a steak.
farm fresh steaks. And
Yeah,
make them
yeah,
home.
sure.
yeah.
For sure. I need to stop by that market on the way home today, by the way.
Almost did Saturday.
Did you?
Almost. But then I
Yeah.
saw some beef in the freezer before I left.
I need to go. I just cooked my last Flying C
Yeah.
ground beef.
We
and I
need to figure
go
out what
buy
that Mexican restaurant was in Mountain Home. Did you have the beef?
Little Bees.
Little Bees. That was delicious.
Shout out to Little Bees.
Yeah.
That was that's what I said to Kaufman. I said that steak was actually really
All
good.
of it was good.
Yeah. They said that guy owns 5 or 6 different restaurants. I guess he's from Louisiana, but Tex-Mex is this thing.
Knocked it out of the park.
They said the menu's huge. Said his wife does all the desserts. I really wish we had a pie or cake or something like
Yeah.
that. But that place was fantastic.
Somebody was asking why we didn't have dessert.
Yeah. Little Bees Grill in Mountain Home. That place was legit. That was really good. Oh yeah, I'm looking at pictures of their restaurant now. All right, let me get back on track. I'm getting hungry is the problem. All right, well, the last thing I'll say before we move on is that if you have been anxiously awaiting, like I have, the Jamaican bobsled team, I looked it up yesterday.
Yeah.
And they all that portion of the Olympics starts on Sunday.
Ooh.
So
yeah.
There we go.
You have not missed it yet.
Thank goodness.
You still have time to watch.
We brought up curling last week, or I did. The U.S. Co-ed curling team.
The mixed doubles,
Yeah.
Have they made it to? They've made it
Silver.
They got silver.
Silver.
So it's over.
which is still
It's the highest they've ever been,
outperforming
yeah.
what they
Yeah.
should have done. Yeah. Now I haven't seen. You remember that guy that went viral in the last Winter Olympics with the kind of mullet and the big mustache and whatever?
yeah,
I haven't.
yeah.
Seen, he wears Jordans. I haven't seen him around yet, so I don't know if there's still more curling to come.
I think that there's more to come because
Okay.
that's the men's team, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is.
The U.S. Men's cross country skiing, we got silver. It was the first time we've medaled in that event in like over 50 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like we play Canada tomorrow at 2:05 a.m. So we'll be looking for a replay on Friday. perhaps.
I'm ready to watch for any of you hockey fans out there. See if Canada and the U.S. rematch in the Olympics, because didn't they have that big Four Nations
Yes,
tournament they had last year.
Yeah.
And they had a big
We
brawl.
talked about that on here. Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting one.
Well, I went back and listened to last week's show 2 nights ago just to kind of refresh myself. We were talking about the U.S. women were playing hockey when we were recording last week, and they're still on a tear. They're scoring 4 or 5 points a game, so that's fun to see. Anyway, I'm all up in the Olympics.
So am I.
I'm loving it. So anyway. All right, last thing, these commodity division meetings.
February 17th. That will be Tuesday. Yep. It'll be here in Little Rock at the Embassy Suites, West Little Rock. Registration starts at like 8:30. Again, our first meeting will be about 9 o'clock. We'll have 4 meetings in the morning. Then we'll have a lunch around 11:30, 12 with a surprise general speaker that may or may not be talking about the weather, future forecasts, and what that means for agriculture this year. And then we'll have 4 or 5 more meetings in the afternoon. So
you and I saw a weather presentation from the climatologists in Louisiana.
Correct.
A few weeks ago, and that was really interesting. So I'm excited to see this one.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
We'll have something to compare it to.
Yeah, we will. Accuracy.
Yeah.
Accuracy test. And then we can heckle from the back if we hear some things that we don't agree with.
It's not what I heard the other day.
Yeah. Get out of here. Anyway. All right. You want to get into
as
the
an
news?
economist, I can understand what meteorologists go through. All right, let's get in the news.
All right, buddy.
All right. The American Farm Bureau put out a detailed article highlighting the rise of farm bankruptcies across the nation. The article paints a clear picture that although every area of the country has been impacted by the ag industry's financial crisis, the Southeast region has clearly been hit the hardest. So according to the American Farm Bureau Federation economist Samantha, I'm going to butcher your last name, Ayubo?
Yes.
Ayoub.
Yeah.
Yeah. 315 Chapter 12 farm bankruptcies were filed in 2025. That is a 46% increase from 2024, and the second consecutive year filings have climbed. The Midwest and Southeast continue to account for the majority of cases, with 121 and 105 filings respectively reflecting ongoing losses across major crop sectors and tightening livestock margins. So let's look at state-level data, particularly. Arkansas recorded 33 filings, the highest in the country, and the most the state has seen this century, driven in part by steep losses in rice production that are projected to exceed $200 per acre, even after the bridge assistance. Several southeastern and midwestern states also posted large increases tied to weak row crop prices and softer dairy, hog, and poultry markets. And I found this pretty interesting. I hadn't seen this anywhere yet. Another trend accompanying the rise in bankruptcies is increased borrowing. Federal Reserve lending surveys show operating loan volumes and loan sizes grew sharply in 2025, while repayment periods lengthened as producers tried to manage higher expenses and lower receipts. American Farm Bureau, notes that with farm income expected to decline again in 2026, many operations are becoming more dependent on credit. That suggests financial strain, and the risk of additional farm closures is unfortunately likely to persist for the near term. So, no good news, continuing bad news in that kind of front of the industry. But that report was more specific nationwide, but I found it interesting that Arkansas particularly was the highest across the country.
Yeah, we continue to see interest in that. I got a email from a national reporter just this week wanting to talk more about that Arkansas bankruptcy number. So, unfortunate, we want to lead the way in lots of things, but that's not one of them.
It's true.
But the unfortunate reality of the situation we're in right now.
It is.
So, well, listen, we covered Argentine beef imports recently, but now we have some facts to go with the plans. The U.S. government has approved an expansion of beef imports from Argentina, allowing an additional 80,000 metric tons of lean beef trimmings to enter the country under a temporary tariff rate quota. The move is aimed at increasing supplies of lean beef, used primarily in ground beef, as domestic beef prices remain historically high. The added imports will be released in quarterly allotments throughout the year. And federal officials say the additional supply could help ease pressure in the ground beef market, particularly for food service and retail outlets that rely on lean trimmings to blend with U.S. beef. For Arkansas cattle producers, the announcement comes at a time when the U.S. cow herd remains near historic lows and supplies are tight. Ranchers across the state have benefited from strong cattle prices driven in part by limited domestic production. While the additional Argentine beef is not expected to significantly impact fed cattle prices, producer groups are closely watching how expanded imports could affect demand for U.S. beef over time. Producer groups also say that long-term solutions to beef supply challenges depend on rebuilding the domestic cattle herd, improving grazing conditions, and supporting producers facing rising input costs. As Arkansas cattle producers continue navigating drought recovery, pasture management, and herd rebuilding decisions, trade policy remains a key factor in influencing the broader beef market. The situation highlights the ongoing balance between meeting consumer demand and maintaining a strong, competitive U.S. cattle industry. And I just want to give a quick shout out to AgriPulse. They had covered this topic thoroughly, and we relied on their reporting to build this story.
Yeah, I found it interesting that this was going to continue, especially with all the pushback the administration received from, farming groups. Yeah. And I mean, I get it. The biggest fix is expanding the herd, right? Yeah. But that's going to take time.
Right.
And we're talking about the last 2 weeks we've talked about on the show expensive beef prices.
Yeah.
At the stores. So
yeah, this does not feel like a supply and demand solution to me, but I'm not an expert in that area. It
seems
just
artificial.
Feels like, yeah, it feels
like
a little artificial.
Money.
Yeah.
To lower cost.
Yeah. But I guess we'll have to see and see how that plays out. So, all right. Well, listen, let's step away from the news to hear about Farm Bureau health plans of Arkansas.
Let's do it.
Kyler saved $300 a month with a health plan from Arkansas Farm Bureau. Watch to hear his story.
I got a call saying that my plan was going to be canceled at the end of April. I really was kind of in panic mode to try and find a new health plan. Me being young and having 2 young kids at home, health insurance is vital for us. Got on the phone with Farm Bureau and I got in touch with an agent. It took me about 30 minutes, and then about 3 days later, I was approved, ready to go, whole family. I took a deep sigh of relief. So with Farm Bureau Health Plans of Arkansas, I'm saving close to $300 a month. You cannot find this plan anywhere else. Get after it and get it.
Farm Bureau Health Plans of Arkansas. Trusted coverage, personalized plans, affordable premiums. Learn more at arfbhealthplans.com.
My last story of the day, if you're curious, the USDA announced a new step in its ongoing farm security initiative this week. The department formalized a partnership with another federal agency as part of broader efforts linking agriculture and national security policy. So U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins and U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth signed a memorandum of understanding establishing a formal working relationship between the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Department of War to implement the National Farm Security Action Plan. The plan, launched in July 2025 alongside other federal agencies, identifies food production, farmland, and agricultural supply chains as national security priorities. USDA outlined several actions taken under the initiative over the past 7 months. These include updating reporting requirements for foreign ownership of agricultural land under the Agricultural Foreign Investment Disclosure Act, creating an online filing and reporting system for those disclosures, and coordinating with other agencies to classify certain fertilizer inputs as critical minerals. The department also reported terminating some contractors and visiting researchers from countries designated as concerns, standardizing grant program requirements, and restricting certain federal funding and certifications tied to foreign entities. So the agreement also initiates a partnership between USDA's Office of the Chief Scientist and the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, also known as DARPA. The agencies will share information on potential security vulnerabilities in agriculture, collaboration on technological solutions, and exchange personnel. In addition, USDA announced the creation of a new Office of Research, Economic and Science Security to coordinate research protection efforts across its research programs as part of implementing federal research security derivatives. So interesting. I think this kind of tied back to that foreign land ownership issue we'd been looking at a few years ago. And I would be willing to bet, I wouldn't call them trade secrets, but like technology-based research, especially, let's call it, use an example like seed genetics.
Right.
Could probably fall into this.
Yeah. I think so.
Because that has been an issue. Other countries coming in one way or another and stealing some of that information. So I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, that is. And, you hear around here all the time that, food, it's a national security issue.
Yep.
So it's interesting to see this partnership between those two departments as well.
And I noticed, and I guess I just missed it in the news, it's not the Department of Defense anymore.
You did just miss that.
It was the Department of War.
Yeah, that change was made a couple months ago.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, let's take a look at the latest WASDE report released this week and what it means for markets.
All right.
Corn and soybean markets showed a positive response following the February USDA WASDE, as both crops posted gains on trade optimism and tightening supply expectations. Analysts say corn futures strengthened after USDA trimmed projected ending stocks in its latest outlook. That signals a tighter balance sheet than previously expected. Additionally, strong export demand helped support the corn complex, with buyers showing interest that pushed prices higher in the days after the report. Soybeans also found support from lower projected supplies, while South American weather remains a focus for traders. The combination of reduced ending stocks and sustained demand helped soybean futures rally. Market observers note that lingering dryness in parts of Brazil and Argentina continue to fuel concerns about yield potential in that 2026 South American crop, a factor that, of course, would favorably influence U.S. prices as global buyers look to fill their needs from other places. Overall, traders appear focused on the interplay between tightening global supplies, export demand, and South American weather risk, all of which helped shape the market's positive reaction following the February supply and demand update this week. So there you go. Latest. There's a little glimmer of good news in the markets.
Yeah. I was at the Arkansas Soybean Association meeting the other day.
Yeah.
And then talking to some other farmers, it kind of sounds like we're going to see more comparatively, I guess, if you compare all the row crops together that we have in the state, an increase in soybeans and a decrease in almost, definitely corn and rice.
Yeah.
Planting acres.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I think we'll have to kind of see some of these planting intentions next month. Should be planting intentions report, I'm thinking.
Yeah, not to jinx ourselves. I just hope we don't have the weather we had last year during planting season.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Stick my hands in my pocket. I'm cold.
It's cold. My feet are cold.
Yeah. I'm real cold over here. So,
Well,
Matthew,
does that mean it's my turn?
It is your
Matthew's
turn.
turn.
And I just want to say how excited I am. We are being embarrassed week after week on trivia.
Yeah, I've watched a few of the last ones, and
My goodness
y'all,
gracious.
I don't know if it's that he's had to start really finding the tough questions, or if it's that you guys.
I don't think
the
he
big
has to
heads
look
you
very
think
hard.
the big heads you think you have maybe aren't as big as
Right. I think here's what it is clearly we're not doing well. And maybe people root for that. Maybe people want to see us do better.
Maybe.
But here's what he's doing. He's staying on the same path regardless of our performance.
He's consistent.
He's not helping us.
No change.
You know what I mean? Yeah, no change. He's head down. So
Brian doesn't
it is
cheat
what
for
it
you
is.
guys. That's,
No,
in your favor. Well, I wanted to, as you guys know, every time I come on the show, I talk about food and restaurants. Easiest connection agriculture has to consumers. And in the past few weeks, we've had the James Beard nominations or semifinalists come out.
Oh, yeah, that's
which,
right.
If you don't know what the James Beard Award is, it is basically the Oscars for restaurants and chefs.
yeah.
We have two past winners in the state of their awards. You have Jones Barbecue,
yeah.
and then Lassesin here in Little Rock that have both won. And this year, I'll just quickly shout out the nominees. Chef Matthew Cooper up there at Conifer and Wren, he got nominated again this year.
Is he the one that you did a video with?
We did. Justin and I went and did a video on their Wren new restaurant that is a restaurant that's right on the farm. Very cool
I
place.
think you talked about that the last time you were on here, too.
Yeah, definly a cool place.
Congrats
Check
to
out
them.
that video. Then you have Chef Jason Paul, which is heirloom at the 1907. I actually know nothing about this place. It's in Rogers, somewhere downtown there. And then, interestingly, Onyx Coffee Lab got nominated for Outstanding Bar. Does their Rogers location do, or is it just that
the one in
a bar
Bentonville on the square has a nice?
Maybe it's the
physical bar.
Bentonville. Yeah,
Is it? No.
big.
Do they have a cocktail program?
Yeah, cocktail.
Oh, I don't know that.
I'll be honest, I don't know that category well enough to know if it's what their definition is. But Onyx is a really cool place. It's cool to see them nominated.
I'm a fan.
But my question, rather than talking about those places, is if you were to nominate one restaurant in the state of Arkansas to be a James Beard, semifinalist, winner, where would it be? And just so you know, the categories that are easiest to understand is there's, outstanding restaurant, outstanding bakery, outstanding bar, and then there is, which is what Jones and Lassesin have won, which is kind of a culturally significant for the area award.
Right,
It's somewhere that historically has been very significant. I'll go ahead and start. I don't want to put you guys on the spot without having time to think. I think that if I was, nominating one place, it would actually be a bakery. And I've talked about it on the show before, but Wild Sweet Williams there in Searcy.
Yeah.
Never eaten there before.
The kolaches at that place are the best. I've had
never
kolaches
heard anything
in
but good
France.
things.
I've had kolaches in Italy.
Yeah.
Wild Sweet Williams in Searcy, Arkansas, up there with the best.
Really?
That place is incredible.
That's
so
fascinating.
honorable mentions, I would say I thought about Charlotte's, them and their pies.
Yeah.
That 10-foot meringue that they have. And then I also thought about Hugo's there in downtown Fayetteville. I really like their burgers and sandwiches, and feel like it's got some cultural significance to that area. But
Hugo's, yeah. If I were to do that, I would probably also go in that cultural category. And this may be a little out of left field, but you did put us on the spot. But I think I would nominate Threefold Noodles and Dumpling Company because, and I'll make the case, that is legitimate Chinese food.
Yeah.
I mean, Lisa Zhang, she's an immigrant from China. She came over here. She takes great pains in creating an authentic noodle dumpling, the food, the cooking process and all that. And I think we're really lucky to have it. I mean, I know people who live out of state who, if they come to Arkansas, they want to get a Threefold food. So I would have to put them up there for that. It's also just,
it's incredible food. Especially, when they did a big menu shift recently. And at first I was a little bit hesitant, like, are you really changing it's a good thing you got going? But some of their new menu items are incredible.
I remember when they added breakfast out at that Pleasant Ridge location, and it's like, hey, here's a breakfast burrito, but there's a Chinese twist on it, and that influence. And so I just think it's really cool what they're doing to bring that authentic experience to them.
And I'll say this to you guys: if you've never been there for Chinese New Year when they do dim sum, it's top notch. It's worth the trip.
Okay.
And they only do it. They usually do it during the Chinese New Year, which isn't one day. It's kind of a whole season. But the dim sum there is great when they're actually doing it.
Well, that's cool. That's who I'd throw out there. You got any?
I would say just for I've never. I hate to say this since I live here in Little Rock. I've never eaten here before.
Okay.
K Hall and Sons is a cornerstone.
Oh yeah,
here in the city.
Boy. You are right about that.
I haven't eaten there because it's so packed at lunch. I just don't have the time to go stand in
We
line.
need to go together.
Yeah.
I go down there fairly often.
Do you?
You know what we should do, and I'll say it now. I know
It's
this
also
is,
intimidating.
this is not close in calendar years, but next time we do the podcast at the fair,
Uh-huh.
we need to go right there. It's right there. You know?
it is.
So should do the podcast and then run over to K-Hall. And stuff.
cheap. I'm talking about
Yeah.
cheaseburger fries
And they
for
got
less
fresh
than $10,
produce, like local
for $8 or
produce.
$9.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
they do.
So seasonal stuff. Another one, just like a overly biased homer pick would be Craig's,
Yeah.
the DVB,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
And then, man, one place I really like in Northwest Arkansas, I don't think gets enough attention, like across the state or even nationally, is a Pizzeria Ruby in Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never
yeah.
been there.
Have you not? It's really good.
Yeah.
The guy that runs it's originally from New England, I think.
Yeah.
And pizza's good. They've got a vast menu, pasta and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really cool atmosphere too. White tile, kind of subway kind of feel.
Yeah. Huh. I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
But
All right. Well, those are good options.
good options. Definitely podcast trip to K-Hall needs to happen.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd be happy to go to K-Hall any day.
incredible. Yeah, like you said, dirt cheap.
I don't want to go on Seafood Saturday. I take that back because I have seen the lines.
Yeah,
and I don't have a desire to stand in a line like that. But I would
Do you
go.
think we
on
could
a
go at
weekday.
like 10:30 and get lunch there?
Oh,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah. I think the play is to get there at like 10:45.
Call it in is
Yeah,
the play.
yeah.
If you call it in, then it's ready. When
Well,
you
every
get
time I
there.
drive by, it's like I'll be here for an hour.
Yeah, good luck getting
yeah.
in the parking lot. I've never gone in and ordered. I've always called in.
Okay.
And I think that's the move. And then if you want something else out of the fried box, if you want to add a pork chop or whatever, you just get that while you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the move.
Well,
So.
anyways, that was what I had to bring to the show today. Is first showing off the fact that we do have Arkansas restaurants and restaurateurs and chefs
Yeah.
that are being recognized in that.
Yeah.
And hey, people watching this or listening to this, throw a comment. Tell us where
Just where were you
where's the place
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like, this place should be an Oscar-winning level restaurant.
I agree.
I
Yeah.
will also make the comment, like growing up, we came to Little Rock to get school clothes, right? Shoes, because in Stuttgart there wasn't nowhere to go buy that stuff. So we'd always eat up here. There were no restaurants like we have today.
No, the food scene in
There's all
Arkansas.
that
There's
changed,
like
so.
Faded Rose and the local historical establishments we have here, but like the food scene that's grown not just in Central Arkansas or Little Rock, but
the whole
across the
state.
state. We are very fortunate to have what we have right now.
I know the Mighty Rib a lot of times, he mainly covers Central Arkansas food, but he covers the whole state in
He does,
some ways.
yeah.
And he oftentimes will remark, he's lived in Houston and Chicago, several places, or at least, been
Boston. Yeah.
deep in those food scenes. And the fact that Arkansas is up there with them and the options we have and the,
Sure.
and it makes sense. I feel like an agriculture state should have good food.
Good food.
yeah.
right.
And so,
Yeah.
I think it really lines up with the state we are.
Yeah.
Say this is so much better than Stump the Host.
Isn't it though?
It is just so much more
Isn't it, though?
enjoyable.
Oh, and I'll add to your K-Hall, they finally made it into the Arkansas Food Hall of Fame last
They
year.
did.
Yeah,
Um, So shout out to them for
Absolutely.
that.
But anyways,
All right. Well, cool. Well, that I guess that wraps up the news for this week.
Yeah.
Thanks for following along with the Arkansas AgCast. We're grateful for you taking the time to watch and listen.
As always, remember you can catch new episodes of the show every Thursday afternoon. Find video episodes on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the audio version wherever you listen to podcasts.
Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review when you have a few extra minutes. The Arkansas AgCast is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau. I'm Jason Brown,
And I'm John McMinn.
and we'll see you next week.